This just happened this morning. We knew we had to sell one lot more. Now we're back to the two. We had been working with our appraiser and pricing it accordingly and all that kind of good stuff. So over the weekend, Colleen Moran, who used to be a broker and still has many contacts, was talking to a friend who was a broker about something entirely different. But we in the last 2 to 3 months especially, we have been talking to brokers and realtors in town, asking them if we could just pay a fee to be listed on MLS and nothing, and nothing else. And we had some very nice offers here in town to waive the fee and for not getting any commission from people here as a broker. But the several pieces of responses we got said, but it's not legal. MLS will always make you, the seller, pay the buyer's fee. So that just shut us down. We couldn't find, so we had resolved as the Open Space Committee. As of today, we thought we were putting ads out, we were going on Facebooks, we were doing every old-fashioned sort of funky thing we could to get the word out because we couldn't go on the big real estate sites.
So what's the cost of doing that?
Of doing these funky things?
No, if we were to go to MLS and say we'll pay it.
Let me get there. So now the MLS will let you do it for a $500 listing fee. That isn't the problem was that we would have had to redo all the legal stuff with Jonathan and you guys to decide that we were willing to pay agent fees to the buyer. So Colleen, being a broker, had another broker friend. They happened to be talking. Colleen happened to mention to her that we had this obstacle. And the friend said, absolutely not. That is wrong. There's a way to handle it. You just list it. When you're listing it, you say no fees will be paid to agent of either side. This is a public municipal property. And you pay $500 to list it, which is, I think, a deal. Mm-hmm. And it will go everywhere. The way this particular woman has set it up, it's going to every website that sells land or anything in the region. We're going to be on Facebook pages, all the stuff we were going to do in our Twinkie way. She does this as a service. If we're willing to pay, I'm not clear if it's $500 per lot or $500 for the whole listing, because we know we haven't. So it's maybe $1,000, but it's, And I've talked to her now. I just learned about this yesterday afternoon. I've talked to her twice since, including today. She is ready to go, and she does this as part of her business. She said, I often find things that she feels she can facilitate things. She's been in the business 40 years. She knows how to do it. And she said the advice you got is people often think that, but it's absolutely wrong. She's not even black. She's black and white. That was bad advice, not intentionally, but you can do this. I will do it for you. She's ready to do it tomorrow. So I just have to go with you guys tonight. Then I'll go see Liz tomorrow. We'll figure out how to get it out again, and off we go. The other thing she said that I thought was encouraging, she said is, you have 2 beautiful properties, and Plimpton is a highly desirable town right now. Land values are high. What you're offering is incredibly attractive, and you've priced them right. So she said, go for it. The only reason you're not getting responses is that you were not positioned right. So here we are, and here I'm asking you if you have anything you want to tell me, because otherwise I'm going to be knocking on Liz's door in the morning, say, let's get that RFP out again, and off we go.
You're familiar with this, Liz, right?
Right.
So you're in agreement with this?
It sounds good to me.
Okay.
If we can figure that out and get it out on all those other sites.
We don't do any of it. She does it all for us. She will go to every listing site. She's putting it on all the local Facebook pages. She puts it out on LinkedIn. She puts it out on all these other subterranean things. Oh, she's putting it out on some South Shore lands. She had many, many sites. She said, I do it all for you. She's doing it all.
Where does the $1,000 come from? Would that be legal?
It might be no, we'll pay for it out of open space with our huge
Okay.
budget. We'll pay $500 to be better than $1,000 out of our budget, since our budget's $1,500. But we will.
So we
pay
have
for
the
it.
money to
Yeah,
pay for that?
No, we'll pay for
Okay,
it.
okay, okay.
So, what do you think?
Do we need to make any edits to the RFP?
Not right now. I mean, I was gonna, this morning, my job was, I was just finishing up changing the other lot. So I'll go back to the original.
Okay.
I don't
We just have
think
to
so.
change the dates, right?
We'll
You want
change
me
the-
to fill that part?
Yeah, we'll have to change the dates. Once you get it to the central register, we'll have to project like 30 days out.
Okay.
Okay? And she needs clearance because we have to sit for a few days, maybe, you'll have to tell me when she's ready to go. I mean, this woman was ready to list it today,
Okay.
So as soon as you and I coordinate.
Okay.
And so I had some questions I sent to you an hour or two ago. She wants to know if we can put some, we really want it, we had a bidders list last time that people basically ignored because most people weren't knowing about it. We will really try to have people be on a bidders list that if we change anything, we can proactively get to them. But it would always be on our web. We'll do just what we did before, the banner on the website. And, I don't think we're going to touch anything, Liz, besides the date.
Okay.
So, we'll see. The only thing that she doesn't know quite how to help us is that the way these public bids are written, they're offers, but it's not like when you're selling your own house, someone comes and knocks on your door and said, I think I'm interested. I think, Jonathan, our lawyer, was saying, typically people come in like an hour or two before you have to hand in your bid, which is what happened, in June. So you don't have a sense. The only reason I could tell it was okay was I had mounted it on Zillow, so I got the user count on Zillow every day. It was a couple a day, but it didn't seem like taking off. So we will not know if we have people sign up for a bidders list. We will maybe have to go the full 30 days again without getting a sense. But maybe there's a way we can figure out, give people a cue to please get a hold of us and sign up for a bidders list, and we'll keep them informed or something.
Now, what happens if somebody wants to see the property?
Oh, they go. We have that right in there. It's marked, there's a for sale sign out front.
Okay,
And we told them the last time.
Okay.
It's right in there, but you're at your own risk, you go over there and walk around. And we
Okay.
have it all staked out, we have it staked where the septic system and wells are,
Okay.
the boundaries, the whole bit staked out.
okay. Makes sense to me, we need to sell the lots.
Now, we need to get the word out. I
Right.
mean, that's the trouble, we just didn't go very far.
So what do you need from us? Just, do we
I
need
just
a
wanted you
vote
to-
or just?
Whatever you want to do. I mean, if you agree, that's nice, because then I'll work with Liz and the Open Space Committee, and frankly, all the little Twinkie things we were going to do, like putting on Facebook cards, we're just going to let her, she does all this stuff.
Right.
And she will go for it, and we'll try to monitor it. The only thing I can tell you is, we might have to go 30 days to see if we get any bites.
Right,
The
exactly.
one thing I will say, just so you have a heads up, because I got this today from Colleen and Barbara as well, is that they need all the money in the bank by September 1st to even post a special town meeting, which we would have to have in the middle of September in order for Colleen to have the money to pay the bond off in the middle of October. That's not going to happen. Not going to happen now. I mean, and I didn't even know this, I thought it was October 15th, and then things changed again. So we're going to be in a position of having in some way to extend the bond, and Colleen was going through their alternative ways to do it as we get closer, amounts and time, shortness. But that's disappointing, because it'll cost something to extend the bond. So that's going to be there, and we're not going to make that September 1st deadline. It's just,
Okay.
you give people 30 days to bid, that's going to be August 15th or something. I mean, that ain't
So
right.
Plumpton citizens, get the word out. 2 beautiful lots.
We've been saying that all along, and people think it's cool. I mean, people are excited. But no, these people, they were really, I think, very interested. It was great. But there you go.
It's the nature of real estate
It's
business.
the
True.
nature of how things work. So, yeah, so we'll have to make some amendments in our schedule in the fall.
Just
Do you think we should vote on it?
Do you want to vote to,
Just support it, or, I mean,
Yeah, so I make a motion that what's been proposed in terms of advertising and doing another RFP, that we are in favor of that.
I'll second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
Good
Okay.
luck.
Yeah,
Thank you.
thank you.
Sounds like there'll be a much more visibility this
Well,
time.
I think this one is the opposite
Yeah.
from what we had.
Yeah.
I mean, even she said, you know, you just haven't been visible.
Yeah.
Would you get back to us with the cost, though, Linda?
Well,
Just-
it's either going to be 500 or
Or
1,000.
1,000,
Yeah,
okay.
so just
Yeah, I'll let you
let us
know.
know.
Okay,
You know, and she was today, she was sort of saying 500, no matter, because we have the lots jointly advertised, but.
okay.
So, okay.
Thank you. All right, so that was our second item on our agenda. So first item, well, Ken, did you need to talk to us too?
Two things. Just going out of order, one item, I would like to recommend Ellen Thompson for appointment to the ZBA. In the past, I've attended meetings where applicants were here without
Okay,
notification from the chair or a personal endorsement.
okay. Yeah, absolutely. Well, we've got a couple of appointments to do, so we can do them together. Okay.
And, secondly, did you see a pair of glasses in here when you came in?
No,
No?
no.
When I started producing,
They're not in your pocket?
No,
Are they
no.
in the kitchen?
Just asking,
Or they might be in the men's room.
Are they in the
Yeah.
men's room? or
I
the
went
kitchen?
in 3 times and
Yeah, sorry.
anyway,
And they're not in one of the seats over there, right?
Well, we
The
were-
chairs? Okay, all right, sorry.
sorry.
Okay, so we'll start with the warrants paid. So the total warrant paid on 6/20 of 2019 is for $5,063.03. $2,083.37 of that was to Eversource. And then we had some maintenance, we had Maya, we had some Verizon bills, and a US Bank for $2,979.66. All right, notice of award, library doors, accessibility project.
So we have been in the process of gathering quotes for the cost of making the doors at the library accessible and alleviating some of the repair issues that exist there, like when the wind keeps
Blowing
taking
it
the
open.
doors. I was able to gather 4 quotes. What we were finding was that a lot of the quotes seemed more inexpensive at first glance, but they did not include the necessary electrical work by a licensed electrician. So I would recommend that the board vote to award this project to DoorTech Inc. They are based in Bridgewater, Mass. And the project is priced at $6,800. And that's for complete work, fully installed, turnkey, ready to go. It does include the necessary work to be performed by a licensed electrician. They confirmed the quote not all that long ago. It was initially provided to us back in February. They were the very first ones to get us a price. But I've just been in communication with them to confirm that it included the electrical work. So if you want to take that vote, we do have the funds, they're all set to go. That was one of the special town meeting articles. So we have the funds in place to have
Okay.
them begin the work. And I don't know if the 3 of you want to sign down there.
In the box?
Just on their proposal, if you take that vote.
So I
Okay.
make a motion, we accept DoorTech Inc.'s proposal for the library doors.
I'll second. All in favor?
Yes.
Aye. Thank you. Okay, John, we have another appointment that we needed to make that you
I-
had written out.
I haven't one here for an alternate plumbing and gas.
That's what, that was it.
inspector.
Okay, perfect. Okay. All right, so why don't we take care of the appointments now? So I'll make a motion that we appoint Colleen Thompson to the Zoning Board of Appeals. And is that a 1-year appointment or a 3-year appointment?
It may be to finish out Harry's term, so I think it might be a 1-year. It might be safer if you do it for the 1 year, and then if we find out that
Okay.
it's longer, we can extend it.
Okay, until June 30th of 2020. Wow. Okay.
I
So we-
think that's the end of Harry's term that was originally my
believe so.
term, so.
Okay. All right, so we've got a motion. Do we have a
I'll
second?
second. I'll
All right,
second.
all in favor?
Aye.
And then,
We have Edward Seeley as the alternate plumbing and gas inspector. through June 30th of 2020.
Okay,
So I make a motion, we approve this appointment.
all right. I'll second the motion. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Do you need that? No?
Sure.
All right, great.
Did
All right.
Collins come
We
through?
don't have her.
We don't have a
slip
slip.
yet.
All right.
Freely prepared.
Perfect. Okay, next, vault, town clerk's office.
I'm gonna go get Tricia.
Sure, okay, thank you.
It was a really busy night with appointments. so
Yeah,
she-
no worries.
So do you need to sign this?
Yep, thank you.
Can I editorialize?
Absolutely.
Yeah, thank God and Colleen for her coming back to zoning board of appeals.
Oh, yeah. Oh, that's, so you need to sign that, perfect. All right.
I can take back the door down.
Great, thank you. And do you need a copy of the total warrants?
take that.
Okay, perfect.
So, just go back on the door. Who made the motion?
Mark, and I
okay.
seconded
Me,
the
Mark.
motion. Yep, okay. Hi, Tricia, you want to talk about the vault?
Sure. So I was looking at the vault information. There is one last step to the vault. That is securing it, so it's fireproof and waterproof. We did have an incident that we realized it's not waterproof by closing the indoor door, and that's what we've, since for the past 7 years, that's what we've used for the security of the vault, is the indoor key locking mechanism. There is an outside door that needs to be electrified and coded, and that final step hasn't been done yet. Mark knows more information about it. He was a liaison with Tara and Nancy to do those final steps with the CPC grant. I think it started in 2011. And the reason I am concerned about it is the town clerk's office has had leaking problems from the roof. And the way the vault is set up right now, I'm not sure of the safety of the contents, and that's my responsibility. So I have visited a couple other town halls in the area and beyond our area, just to talk to other town clerks about what their criteria was for the management of permanent records and old records and deeds. Some of their facilities are incredible, of course, because of their budgets, especially cities that are climate controlled, and just there's amazing storage capacity and security that I don't feel like we have right now. So just either one step is finding out how to get the power supply for the vault and have that final step done. And then also the roof situation is an ongoing issue, that there must be some type of leak in the roof. We do have trouble when it rains, and Steve has been so kind as to continually change the drop-down panels in our ceiling. But that, what I'm questioning is there's one ceiling panel in the room that leads to our vault. So you can see how the vault is constructed. It has sort of like a corrugated metal over the vault, and there are two different vent type. I don't know if they're hooked up to any type of fire alarm system, or I'm not sure. So I kind of wanted to ask you if you could have an electrician come in and just talk to me about what the vault's capable of right now and what the possibilities are to make it safer in the future. Of course, that's not in my budget this year, but because of the roof leaking and just not knowing what exactly is the whole structure above the vault and how vulnerable it is to, fire and water damage. So just an evaluation of that, but just have your permission to have an electrician come in and look at those final steps, and maybe Mark could also, I don't know if you have anything to add of what you know.
It's years of a little bit of miscommunication along the way and lack of coordination, and it would be really good to get this done. I think it gets a little complicated. I checked with Tara last week again. She did leave a big file somewhere. Do you have
I
that?
do have, yes, it's the vault information and the, so it says, the last thing is the electric, so that's why I'm asking about the electric.
And the electric sounds simple, and actually Bob Carling was originally going to do that, but I think it gets a little complex because that panel may not have enough power. I mean, there's a lot of steps here. There's the panel probably needs some work, the electrification, and then the piece that's really complicated is the alarm system. The fire alarm system isn't hooked up, and theoretically, for that to the vents and the doors to automatically close, we need an alarm system. The last time we looked at that, I think it was like $30,000 to do the whole building. There was actually some CPC money for the portion that was in front. I mean, this goes back 5 or 6 years, actually, but that's another piece. I mean, I think there are a lot of pieces we have to look at. I think if we add the ceiling or the roof in there, we probably just need to get a sense of this stuff, see what it's going to cost, get some quotes, and I think we'd be looking at town meeting, or unless there was a special and we're ready to do it then. But I'm totally in favor that we finally get this thing done.
Yeah.
And at least I'm totally in favor of you having an electrician come in. Tara did mention, you're probably much more on top of this than I am, that the manufacturer of the vault, she had spoken to him several times, maybe there are notes there, but that he was knowledgeable of our unique situation and that it might be worth a conversation with him as well.
He did have an email correspondence with her in the middle of March.
Yeah.
There was some back and forth, and it was about setting up a PIN for being able to put in some type of password, but I don't know as much about the vault as I want to. It wasn't on my radar as much as it is right now, and kind of the catalyst for my concern was the roof leaking.
In any event, I certainly supportive of moving forward with these things, and hope that maybe you'll take up the torch.
Sure.
I think we just do. I did talk to Bob Collin about this. This about 2 years ago. And at the time, he mentioned that the issue was three-phase wiring and how expensive it was. Now, since then, I've heard that that isn't as true as what he made out. Plus, we have three-phase wiring, I understand, going into the police station. So from the police station to here, we ought to be able to figure out if that's the issue for the electrical. But Tara told me the only problem she was having was in the summer, like now, the humidity, if you closed both doors, was too high. And she basically said once you got into the cooler weather, then it wasn't a problem because you could close the doors and there was no humidity. So I'm all in favor of you taking it and finding out what we got to solve this. Just
Yeah.
get it done.
Yeah, I'm not sure what the capability of the environmental controls for the correct conditions for the preservation of paper objects and old objects. So I'm not sure the whole capability of it, but I would like to just have a second opinion regarding the electrical. I did see, Chief Dillon showed me the storage facility for the police records, and it's like, yes, the town clerk and the town records also need to be in a standard that is as high as the police station records.
You might want to talk to, after you've talked to whoever you're going to Scott Valley too. these are,
Yeah.
just to see.
He was just sworn in my office just
Great.
now, but I wanted to ask your permission to bring him
Sure.
in as a consultant
Sure.
before I said anything to him, so I didn't say anything to him when I
Yeah,
just saw
I
him.
agree. Let's move with this, and, maybe there's grant money that we can tap into to pay for this, and CPC funds.
I think we're going to find
or-
out it's not as expensive as what I was
That'd be
led to believe.
great if it was, if that was the case.
I think that's true in the electric. I am concerned about the alarm thing.
Yeah.
That's a big
We got to
deal.
fix that anyways.
And that, we actually still have CPC money available for the old part of the building as far as preservation.
And the alarm panel that's here in the hall outside of our office is fairly new. And so I don't know if there's availability for one of those outlets, or I'm not sure what they're called. It's not my area of expertise. But if one of those detectable pieces of the alarm system would be able to be wired to that part of the building and in the vaults, that would be great. That would
Probably
be,
the alarm company then, to
Yeah,
get them in for that.
I think that's just that panel, and there's a whole other step in sensors.
Right, that wouldn't be the first step,
throughout the
right? Okay,
building, and
yeah.
That's
So
the
let's start with
target of-
electrical?
Yeah,
Okay.
it's a big
yeah.
deal.
But electrical, the alarm, and of course, number 3 is the roof. Discussing with a problem that we had with the Dennett roof, I was told that some of the insulation that was wet after a leak continued to leak even if it wasn't raining, as it would heat up, and it was causing moisture problems and condensation problems, and we're finding that is happening, I don't know, every 6 weeks or so in our office.
Okay.
So,
Well, that's been on our radar too. That's, these ongoing issues with the roof, and it's just,
I
It's
don't know
been a
who we go
challenge.
to. We should have somebody come in and take a look at the roof.
well, I think we had, Roberts was the last group that came in and did the repair
Did the
on
work.
it.
Yeah,
They
but
did the
then
work.
We had some problems.
We did have problems with it. But maybe we could have somebody come in and just take a peek, and, if there's an easily identifiable
At least
problem.
identify it, yeah.
Right, then
Yeah.
maybe there's something we could do temporarily until town meeting, and, yeah, okay.
So you're going to look at the electrical and the alarm, and we'll take a look at the roof
yeah,
side?
I'll talk to Scott about that, and I will share the paperwork about hooking it up so all the systems are running, so
Okay.
it can be the safest it possibly can.
Good, all right, that sounds great. All right, so that's.
So that's that.
So check the vault.
Thank you.
So then the next complete count committee for 2020 federal census.
So in the past 2 months, Jill and I have attended 2 meetings with the U.S. Census Bureau. They're really proactive and gearing up about the census for 2020. They recommended that the clerk's office would talk to selectmen to form a complete count committee made up of the trusted voices of our town, someone possibly from the Council on Aging, perhaps someone from the church, but just a variety of trusted voices in the town. Our office being the first office for questions, some people got a test preliminary invitation to go online to respond, and that's how their first preference of responding to the census is going to be online this year. So one of the duties of the Complete Count Committee would possibly be setting up workshops in the library with either members of the committee or possibly volunteers doing their community service from the high school on a Saturday, to just get some people who are not computer savvy to be set up and signed on so they can respond quickly. And we were trying to get the word out. Jill made a great bulletin board display So people are thinking about the census, where it answers questions and gives information and gives links to how this is going to be done. I guess what we want to do is make people feel secure and safe with their responses. The one question we haven't had answered is whether or not the citizenship question is going to be included, and nobody knows that right now. But that's something that some people don't always feel safe about. So our office has been told that the Bureau is into statistics and numbers. So every question has to be answered on the census to have it complete. And the communication between citizenship, immigration is a totally different department than statistics and the census. So the way we answer questions on our census is not going to be divulged to another government entity. So we want to make citizens, residents feel safe about what information they're giving, and there's information for the Complete Count Committee to be able to go on social media and just have meetings and be helpful and have that dialogue.
Great.
So there's a lot of information on that. So that was my request, was I was going to ask you to think about appointing members of a committee so that can start to form just information and a helpful group of people to help
Are you
citizens.
going to reach out to people and ask if they'll be on this committee and then get a list to us so that we can
I
make the
could.
appointments? Okay,
Sure,
perfect.
yeah,
That's probably the best.
Yeah, sure, I will.
So that they understand what we're asking of them.
sure,
Okay,
I will.
all right, that sounds great.
Yeah, I'll get a list.
Okay.
Is there a certain amount that you would like?
What do most committees do? I would think maybe 5.
You know,
Okay.
If you have more than 7, it's a debating society.
Yeah.
5 always works good.
Yeah, 5 seems to be a good number. 3's not enough, it's too much work.
All right.
But 5 would probably be good, especially if you're trying to get them to attend, meetings or, host meetings,
Yeah.
that it won't be so overwhelming.
So we're not sure if this complete count committee is open meeting law regulated.
Okay.
That we didn't get an answer on that as well, but that could be up to you. But if we were doing workshops at the library for logins, I'm not sure if that would be considered an open meeting if they're
Right.
not doing business.
That's when you need deliberating.
So,
It would be open meeting if there's, 2 selectmen say, well, it would have to be, or Board of Health, I guess, 2 Board of Health, but just having,
It's more like an informational.
yeah.
I think what they had suggested at the seminar that we attended is that if there were two members, to just go ahead and post a meeting along with the complete count committee meeting. So, for instance, if 2 selectmen were on it, when we got the information about the dates that the committee was meeting, that we would just go ahead and post a very small meeting just to cover that aspect of it.
so the public would be aware that there was a meeting if they had questions about how they're supposed to handle this. So there's going to be the initial mailer that goes out that hopefully most people will respond by electronic response. But you can also still do the snail mail, old-fashioned response. The very expensive response is when someone starts knocking on the doors in April.
Right.
Because no one responded from that home.
Okay.
And that's the most expensive for the government to handle, and that's why this is being a proactive duty to try to get their awareness and help before it ends up having a knock on the door and a live person being able to finish the town. We have a small town, we could do this.
Right.
We'd like to be one of the first ones to finish the census count.
Maybe we
So-
could even put something on the website where you're looking for volunteers to solicit some of that. And if there's a link with information about the census, maybe we could put that on there too, just so people, it's in their minds that this is coming. And, here's a little information. If you need more information, contact your office.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, yep, thanks.
Great.
I think that's it, except I do just want to extend gratitude to Jill Pallenstein, my assistant, jumping in very late in getting ready for annual town meeting and elections. She was just so helpful beyond words and such an attribute to the town, and I really appreciate her. So I just wanted to express my
That's nice.
gratitude.
Very nice.
So I'm happy with the way things are running in that
Excellent.
office.
Good. Great news. All right, so yeah, just let us know what you need from us, and we'll go forward and promote this and do what we can to get some people on a committee to start to increase awareness.
Okay, so just to wrap up, the vault is my responsibility as far as the electrical, but the roof is
We're gonna take care of
okay.
that. We'll
All
get
right.
some people in to get the roof.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Well, thanks for coming in.
Thank you. Good
Thanks,
night.
Joe.
Thank you.
All right, so town administrator reports or updates. That's an electrical.
So the job opening for the animal control officer, the advertisement period for that has ended. We have several applications in. I believe last time when we hired Griffin, because there were only, I think, 2 applications, we just brought both people here.
Right.
In this case, I believe we got 4 in, I want to say. So I just wanted to run it by the board and figure out if you'd like Chief Dillon and I to sit down with everybody first and then bring in a couple of finalists, or if you want all of the people who sent in the applications to come and meet with the board. I just was looking for a little bit of direction on
How
that.
about you, Liz and Chief Dillon?
If you want to do that.
I'm willing to do that. Yeah, in the big scheme of things, I think you guys narrowed it down to 2 for the whole board.
Yeah.
Okay.
I am glad to sit with you guys.
Yeah, that would be great.
Okay.
Can I bring my dog? No, no.
Absolutely.
We're finalizing the Housing Choice Grant application. It's due on Wednesday. After reading through all the questions, I'm a little bit skeptical. It requires some other things to have in place already. One is an ADA, kind of like a self-evaluation. And I was waiting for some clarity from the state's, kind of like their accessibility office, if we could say that because we have an ADA coordinator, who's our highway superintendent, and where we've looked at some of that stuff in connection with when they were updating the town's open space plan about a year ago, if that counts as a self-evaluation, or if we're kind of getting a little ahead of ourselves as
Okay.
far as this application goes. But I think either way, we should still submit the application and kind of see where it takes
Okay.
us. I don't think there's any harm in at least applying.
The application is what again, please?
That's the housing choice that we were going to see if we could get a more complete master plan for this area where we're considering potentially having housing located here.
Okay.
I sent a note to the Carver and Halifax town admins just to see if they had considered the possibility of Council on Aging shared services or looking at grant opportunities together. I haven't heard back yet from Charlie, but Michael responded right away, and he wants to have a further discussion with me probably later this month.
Oh, great.
And just see what we might be able to either apply for or what the level of interest is, and that sort of thing.
That came out a little bit of an Area 58 Board of Directors meeting, the 3 towns involved, and the 2 other towns, or people that were pretty committed in the towns, were very excited about the possibility of another shared thing. And there seemed to be a lot of enthusiasm, and Liz has taken that up, and I think there is a lot of enthusiasm in the 3 towns at the selectmen level and the town admin levels, and worth at least exploring. Cable 58 or Area 58 is an example of shared services working immensely well, and whether we can extend that to this, we'll
Are
see.
you going to include Joy Marble in these discussions?
I think we should.
Yeah. You too.
As a courtesy
Right.
and just to keep her in the loop.
Okay.
So that people understand that it's more of a teamwork thing and that nobody needs to feel threatened or concerned by
Right,
it.
right.
So we can loop her into the discussion. I'm waiting for the state to put us in contact with the company. They're called Acuity, and they're the ones who will be doing our free IT health check. I thought that it would be kind of in the works by now. I guess the state processed our application, but I think with the holiday and maybe some other places trying to wrap up their evaluations by the end of this past fiscal year. So I checked in with the state again and said, you know, that company was going to be reaching out to me. I haven't heard anything. And they said, oh, don't worry, like your paperwork's in the system.
We were talking 2. Is this the first survey and then the infrastructure follows separately?
This is the IT, like the overall health check. Then there's a second one that you can do
Okay.
after the first, which is specific to cybersecurity. And then I was also gathering prices to have like something to see what it would cost to bring in a company that you actually pay.
Right.
That would be a lot more in-depth.
Right.
The prices that I'm getting back from some of my colleagues are upwards of $50,000.
Ouch.
So I was kind of the mindset that it might make sense to do these free ones first. We also have to see how this will all play in. I received a draft of the contract with Open Cape for the fiber optic installation, which I'll obviously be bringing to the board. I was thinking it might make sense to wait until we're a little closer to Matt Clancy transitioning in.
Problem.
Chief Dillon's been instrumental with this whole thing, but I think where Matt's the one who's going to have to kind of take the baton on
Right.
that end, I thought it made sense to maybe put it off for another month or so until he can get in here and get his feet under him, and then maybe sign the contract with them
Okay.
and go from there.
Just going back to the survey, I know when we talked to Steve Pello, he was saying we should do the health check like you're thinking of doing, and I agree the cybersecurity piece too. And then we should look at an outside company that's skilled in that
Yes.
area. I think we should go back to him because 50,000 sounds
It sounds like a lot.
maybe.
I don't know how many buildings they were looking at too. I mean, some of my colleagues from other places, they could have been, those companies
Sure.
could have been looking at like their school system
Right.
combined with the
Right.
municipal side. You
Right.
don't know what went into
Yeah.
those contracts.
Okay,
So we can go back to him after. We might want to do that anyway with the findings from the
absolutely,
health check
absolutely.
and see what he thinks.
How do you spell acuity?
I believe it's AKUITY.
Thank you.
I put a call into GATRA to find out about transportation options for seniors. Currently they have a Pembroke line, and it does Pembroke and Hanson, and then they have a whole loop that they do in Plymouth.
Yeah, Kingston.
Right, so that whole area, I've been playing phone tag with their director. I sent him an email with some times this week. I think he might be away, but he said to get in touch with them with some times, and we can talk it over.
I talked to Joy Marble, and she brought this up, that she had done this in Halifax, and it was population dependent, and they wouldn't consider it.
Right.
But if it was Halifax and Plimpton together, maybe that offers a bigger,
Or Carver and Plimpton together, because
Yeah.
they're
Right.
already covering
yeah,
Carver.
that would be a nice shared service too.
It
Right.
would.
Yeah.
Boy, and that's just right up Route 58. the whole
Exactly.
way. That's beautiful.
So I'll mention that point to him too when I connect with him. Let's see here. The Finance Committee, Barbara Gomez and I met with them last week to have them sign those end-of-year transfers, which they have done. They were really kind of promoting this idea of having department heads for this next fiscal year that we're now into, being a little bit more accountable for their budgets and kind of staying on track. So after quite a bit of discussion, we agreed that there were certain initiatives that we should be pursuing, probably jointly, like the Board of Selectmen, them, and then Barbara and I kind of on the employee end of things. Catherine Shepherd and I had agreed to drafting a joint letter. Obviously, it would be circulated to this board for review and additions and edits. Same thing on the FinCom end, and send it out to all the department heads. And we would want to have a new attachment. We want to redo how transfer requests are done. As it stands now, people go to Barbara, they have the small amount of accounting information filled in on the top. They usually don't write a reasons why or any justification, and then they leave it in the mailbox for FinCom. So if I'm not at a FinCom meeting, I'm completely unaware of it, you're not aware of it, and there are some departments, if they are frequently looking for reserve fund transfers and that kind of thing, it just becomes problematic towards the end of the fiscal year. So we wanted to add a couple extra steps onto that form. So we were proposing with the joint letter that goes out to include the new template that people are to use. Additionally, Barbara had agreed to doing monthly financial reporting at the end of each month, giving each department head the printout that shows exactly where they're at with each of their budgets. And we were thinking that we would do what they do in most other communities, which is require the department head to sign off on this form, indicating that they're aware of where they are. Do they need a meeting with Board of Selectmen, with me, with her, with FinCom? And it would really kind of, I think, help everybody to be on the same page, but it would also give this board something to hang your hat on, where a lot of the department heads now, I mean, you see we've been doing between updated, like the fire department, the fire chief's contract, police chief's contract, some of these bigger department heads, those positions, it would give you something to connect it to based on like performance evaluations and that kind of thing. So if you had somebody in whatever situation couldn't stick to a budget, it would give you a means to say, hey, wait, there's a problem here. You know, we're 40% of the way through the year and you've already spent 75% of your budget. What's going on? And where in all those updated employment contracts, we keep tying it back to the budgeting process, and that they need to be, you know, capable of managing their budgets and presenting their budgets and sticking to them. And I think it would give us something from an HR perspective to kind of point to and say, well, wait, there's a problem now, and meanwhile you've been signing off on these things every month. It would make people read it, is what it would do, and actually take ownership of these budgets. So that was another idea we had. We also talked about looking at potentially establishing purchase order requirements for bigger purchases from larger departments. I don't know how worthwhile that is, because it would really only be like police and fire, maybe highway. But it would create, we could establish a chain of who we wanted to sign off. And it would just kind of keep people in the loop. So if somebody was purchasing a bigger ticket item, at least there would be some controls in place.
The only feedback I have on this, because I've been with companies that do it, and I've been with companies that don't. The process itself takes a lot of work. And the question is whether we have the resources to throw at it without increasing the budget for it.
You're talking about the purchase order?
Purchase
or-
order
yeah.
process, yeah.
I think maybe if we establish the other items and put the purchase order requirement on hold for a little bit and see how the rest of this
Yeah.
rolls out.
I'm all for the financial report. I'm a little concerned, I think the department heads, when we say department heads, I'm not sure how far down that goes. Certainly, police, fire, highway, that makes total sense. But when you get down to the volunteer groups that are smaller,
I
we
don't
have to be
think we
careful.
can reasonably do that,
Okay,
impose
good.
that on them.
So maybe you could make a list, like, some should do it, like Board of Health and Planning. I would
Right.
think they would be, they're fairly big. Maybe Conservation and Open Space, but beyond that, I'm not sure I see it.
Well, maybe it's a
Make a
budget
list and
value.
then see where you are.
Rather than
Right.
the group, it depends on
Yeah.
what the value of the budget is. And,
Right.
if your budget's a certain size, then
We can
you're
do that,
subject
too.
to this type of oversight.
I love the monthly monitoring. I mean, that just brings attention and reminds every month.
Yeah, and ownership of it. And
Absolutely.
yeah, it's right.
Enthusiastically support that. Good move.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's great. So are you planning on transfers coming to you before they go to Barbara?
They would go to her to write in the account information so we could see where it was coming from, what the balance is, and then come to me to be initialed that I've seen it, and then I would put it in FinCom's box.
Okay.
Because the other issue is that a lot of times, some of these people, when they're doing these requests, they don't put the justification, they just like put a line through it. So FinCom has said that they're just not entertaining those requests any longer.
On the bigger ones, I'd like to see it come through us if they, report to us. Like
can do
legal,
that.
that's fine.
Well, it's good for tracking purposes. Then if I've seen it, I can say to the board, I can report back to you and say,
Exactly.
Right,
just so
right.
you know, we got these in from these departments, this is the justification, and I can send it out. And then if you feel as their appointing authority that, you need to have a discussion with them,
Yeah,
would
this
help
sounds
kind of
really good.
keep that communication.
I'd like to see that, because one of the things we don't have per se is journal bunches here, which, coming out of private industry, just shocks me. And in a sense, what you're doing is we could combine it almost into that, so that it's a dual form. So we know who's signing off, that in fact it's been looked at correctly, et cetera. And it's just part of the maturing,
Right.
if you will, as we become more professional.
Yeah, sounds good. I love the ideas, yeah.
That's it for that. I have correspondence here. We have a letter from the fire chief informing us of some rate changes for fire department details. So these are when people need to hire them, say the electric company or whatever it may be, to work details. The rates were not updated since July 1 of 2015. So I can pass this around, but this is what they're implementing going forward. It seemed reasonable to me, and that's not town money that goes for that.
Right,
These are
right.
outside entities, if they're requesting the service that they would pay for.
Makes sense.
Sure does.
Do we need to vote on that, or are they just going to do that?
I think he can just do it.
Yeah, I think he doesn't need
based
our
on,
approval.
yes. We had sent a letter that Joy Marble used in her application for an accessible van back at the end of June, just saying that if she was successful in the grant application, that, we didn't anticipate a problem with approaching town meeting next year, looking to appropriate the 20% match. Just as of today, she requested an updated letter because I guess the numbers she used to calculate the 80 versus 20 were last year's numbers. So she had to submit an updated letter. So if we were successful with the grant, we would receive an 8-passenger, fully accessible van, and the town's contribution to that would be $12,560. And the state would pick up the 80%.
And that's wheelchair accessible?
Yes, it's fully accessible. It's quite large when you look at the picture. It looks
Right.
more, it looks like some of almost like the
Gatra?
Gatra vans. They're
yeah.
big.
That'd be fantastic.
So that went out today to get her up to date on that. We have a use of town property form for movie night here at the townhouse, July 27th at 7 p.m. And
Who's
that's the-
sponsoring that?
The Plimpton
Great.
Youth Athletic
Oh, nice.
Sports.
What are they showing? Do they say?
I don't
It's
remember
a,
seeing it on there.
I remember looking, it's a kids' film.
Oh, I'm sure. It's probably a Disney movie or,
It's something about pets, I think.
Oh, Secret
maybe,
Life of
yeah.
Pets, the second one.
or like there's pets and then there's pets too. and-
Yes.
So I make a motion, we approve this use pending approval of the other departments that need approval.
I'll second that motion.
Yes.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right.
We have another form here also from Pays. This is for use of the small conference room down the hall for 3 of their meetings, July 11th, August 5th, and August 8th at 6:30 p.m.
So July 11th,
July
I'd
11th.
like to attend one of those meetings.
The only thing is, we want to make sure it's not
You're
gonna-
gonna have to check the calendar. If you approve
With
of this.
Tara?
They'll have
Or,
to.
So that one,
Yeah.
What night
first
are they?
one's a Thursday,
July 11th, I think, is a Thursday. August 5th is a
Monday,
Monday, and the 8th is a Thursday.
So usually Thursday isn't a problem.
Right.
Concom and planning are often earlier in the
All
week.
right, so I can't do July 11th. What was the August date?
5th and 8th.
5th we're here. Are we on the 5th?
We're on the 5th.
All right, and the 8th, what do we have the 8th?
I could do the July one.
Got a hair appointment. Yeah, I would like to talk to them about the opportunity to serve on Recreation Commission.
yeah.
Yeah, that would be wonderful, John.
That's July 11th?
July 11th at 6. So that's this week, that's this
So
Thursday.
is the motion going to be contingent on checking
I
the
would say
town clerk?
contingent with checking the calendar to make sure that the room is available.
So I make a motion that we approve this use of town property pending checking with town clerk that there are no conflicts.
I'll second the motion. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Thank you.
I mean, at worst, if there's a conflict, they
Then-
could use this small meeting
Yeah, or in
room.
here. I don't know if anybody's
I think
meeting in
on
here.
the Thursdays, isn't the library open until 8?
It is.
It is.
That might honestly,
The
I don't know
kitchen
how,
area.
if they have a key to the building or access, that may end up working out better for them on the Thursday night ones if they went over
Who
there.
has key to what?
I don't know if anybody from Pays would have access to
Doubt
the
it.
building on a
They're
Thursday
not,
night.
they're not gonna
Yeah,
have a
if
key
we're
to the
not
building.
Here on a Thursday night.
I could come up, but yeah, you're right.
We'll get in touch with them tomorrow and just kind of.
Get
Is
squared
that
away.
Amy Hempel you're
Yeah,
talking
Amy
about?
Hempel.
Okay.
We also have another use of town property. This is for the townhouse from 10 a.m. until noon on August 21st. The Council on Aging has some people coming in from the state to hand out emergency go packs to seniors. They estimate that these kits for emergency preparedness are worth, I think, about $50 a piece. And they're eligible for free for seniors.
Oh,
so-
that's nice.
And so I make a motion that this be approved pending any other approvals that are needed.
I'll second the motion. All in favor?
Yes.
We have a letter from the Board of Health acknowledging their reorganization. Art Moran, chairman, Brad Cronin, clerk, Harry Weichel Jr., treasurer. And then Plimpton Halifax Express, there was some great 4th of July photos and some tales of old Plimpton.
Very nice. All right, so that is your update and the correspondence?
Yes.
All right. So, board's goals for 2019, long,
Can I,
yeah, do you have something you want to add?
Yeah. I've been thinking about board goals, now that we've got them. I think we should workshop the next iteration below them to sort of take these and say, okay, when we say long-range master plan for town campus, what are the strategies we want to use to drive that and the tactics? Just to get a little more granular. Because right now we fit in what we sort of do into the goal. And I think if we just kind of reversed it, and I'd be glad to put it together and do the work.
As long as you can fit it on one page.
It's gonna take 3.
Well, maybe we could even,
What we need is a whiteboard.
yeah,
we
that's
take
exactly
these-
where they're standing up
yeah.
there. Where, you know,
Not
this
that
is
way.
just the highlights, but yeah, this is how
What
we're
I
gonna
could-
get there.
What I could do is put together a rough draft of what I see the whiteboard looking like, that you could critique before we even have it.
Yeah,
And then we could go in with a whiteboard and have those up and say, okay, now we
beautiful.
want.
Yeah, that's beautiful.
But we probably need an hour or two in August.
Okay. Well, typically it's slower.
Yeah, I mean, my
Yeah.
schedule's easy, you guys work.
Yeah.
so-
Yeah, we could do it,
Glad to do it.
even just have a working meeting, schedule a working meeting.
Yeah, that's the way I
Yeah.
say it, a working meeting.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right,
We
that
don't
sounds
need that
good.
camera.
Okay,
Great.
yeah, that's a great idea.
Right, so
Yeah, I
I'll-
like it. And then the next step is we have to get a whiteboard.
Oh, I thought you were going to
There
say
is
the
a
next step is
whiteboard.
do all this stuff.
We found the whiteboard, I
Did
just
you?
don't know where it is.
Okay,
There's a whiteboard down, remember when we had the leak downstairs?
yeah.
Yeah, there was a whiteboard over in the corner.
Well, let's try to get it up here.
You know where there's
There's a
one? in the-
whiteboard right there.
No, this was huge. We got one in the old police department.
Right, see if we can get it in here.
Why don't we meet there?
Okay, upstairs?
That conference room? We'll clean it up.
They're
Steve's gonna be,
supposed to be moving up there roughly around August
That's
1st.
first, right.
so if we
okay.
had it after August 1st, it's gotta be at least clean.
Okay,
Okay.
but you want to get it down here, don't you? The whiteboard?
You mean for that meeting?
Well, after that meeting,
Oh, yeah. I've always
so that
wanted a
people
whiteboard,
can,
but
can
nobody
see,
ever
you know, what
approved
we're working on, and,
it. It would have to be on wheels. Where we're gonna put it?
I don't know.
I mean, it'd have to be on wheels.
Over there.
Yeah, we could.
And it's gotta be pretty big.
Okay,
Because I don't think you wanna leave it up. There's gonna be times when what we get up on the whiteboard is gonna be changing. We don't want people coming in and saying, oh, I didn't know they were gonna do that, when we know it's gonna,
well, maybe the whiteboard is a white sheet of paper
could be.
that,
The big eraser.
with a big eraser, yeah.
What are you thinking,
You
Mark?
know, we could just do 3 or 4 flip charts.
Could do that too?
And then they're just standing there, sitting there, people looking at it,
Right,
thinking
kinda
about it.
knowing what we're working on and, yeah.
Ideas percolating up at odd moments. Joint
Yeah.
correspondence.
Yeah. Okay, all right, so it sounds like, yeah, we're all on the same page. Okay, so long-range master plan for town campus, Liz highlighted on that with the housing initiative grant. Grant acquisition, always something we're working on, continue
Before, Terry Foster, what's our next step?
I'm not certain that she's still interested. We can reach out to her again and see
All right.
about bringing her on.
I'd
Maybe
like to
on a
know-
trial basis and kind of.
I'm gonna be out in Monterey sometime in the middle or end of July. So if she works
Okay.
there, I could connect with her, but I'd like to know, you've reached out.
Okay.
Okay,
Oh, that Monterey. I had you out on the West Coast with the surfboard.
I wish.
no, Monterey, Mass.
Yeah. No surfing in Monterey, Mass.
All right, we talked a lot, or Liz talked a lot about the continued professionalization of town general and financial operations with what she's working on with FinCom and the town accountant to really increase accountability. Volunteer outreach, strengthen town committees, boards, and commissions. We continue to work on that, and it sounds like you're going to make with pays. Explore affordable housing opportunities and use of town-owned land and buildings. That's also the Housing Initiative Grant. That's will help us with that. We continue to support Liz's goals. Continue protecting town's natural resources and unique character. Well, we didn't talk about it, and specifically today, we always are mindful of that, and encouraging fiscally sound government.
Can I, going back up a
Yeah.
couple bullets, it looks like there will be an opening on the Community Preservation Committee.
Okay.
That will be an appointee of this board, so if anyone has interest, I'd love to hear from you.
Great.
It's a good committee. It's a really good committee. It's one of the best jobs in town. We actually have money. People come to us with good projects. We help spiff them up and make them even better
Yeah, and
projects.
to see.
It's a great.
Yeah, what you guys do, it
it's
is.
It's a happy committee.
It is a happy committee. It's, yeah, a committee that makes good use of that CPA funds. All right, any other business? I don't think so. We don't have any minutes for tonight, so we'll,
We were going to visit the executive session minutes I had written up from last time. We've never done that.
darn it, we didn't.
Yeah, we should have done
We
it in
should have done it in
executive
executive session. So why don't we do it for our next executive session? We'll have to.
Which will be the next one, right? We're going to have, Liz, we're going to have zoning come in at the next.
So I'm struggling with finding an executive session purpose to have him come in.
For an update on, just,
I mean, we would have to, it would have to be, unless you want him to update you on something that was involving like pending litigation.
Him being,
The zoning enforcement officer.
Well,
Or you
we've
could just
got-
let him come in an open session too.
Yeah, but we've got the issue down at Carriogo.
Right.
It's, I don't know where we stand on that. I haven't heard a thing.
yeah,
I'd like to know
yeah.
at least what's going on there.
well, if there's no pending litigation, it's
I
really
think it
not
could just be
Well,
executive
no, there's
session.
a cease and
Session.
desist.
Yeah, but that, I don't.
But there's no
I
lawsuit.
don't
That's
believe
just,
so.
yeah.
No. You need an actual case to tie it to.
Right.
If you do a purpose 3.
Right. Yeah, I mean, I'd like to know what's happening with,
Yeah, so
He
just
could
put them on
come
the
in-
open
He
meeting.
could come in and give a general update, or if he didn't want to get specific with different addresses and establishments during that, where we're on the summer schedule, normally he was here every Monday night. Since we're on the summer schedule, on the off weeks, he's here on Mondays from 9 to 2. So like next Monday, he'll be in the building from 9 to 2. July 29th, he'll be here from 9 to 2. So every week that we don't have a meeting, he's here during the day. So I mean, he'd be at your disposal if when
you
we
wanted to meet,
come in
yeah.
and chat with him. He'd be available for the whole day. Like say like he was here
I'd be willing
tonight,
to come in and chat.
but say like next Monday, that might be better if you're looking
Okay.
for
Right.
property specific.
right, and more in-depth information.
Right,
Okay.
but we could still invite him though for the 22nd, just to give a little
Kind of generalization.
overview if you think that's useful.
Sure.
Yeah, and it'd be nice
Yeah.
to know how things are working out and, if, you know, what,
Just because, I mean, we really haven't met with him since.
The
he was-
interview.
Since he was hired.
No.
so
Okay.
That makes sense.
So let's do
He'd be
that,
willing.
and then I can also send you the dates that he's planning to be here during the day in case you have one-on-one
perfect.
questions.
Good.
Okay, that sounds good. All right, so dates to remember. Our next meeting is July 22nd, and then we're meeting August 5th and 19th. No regular session minutes to discuss tonight or vote on. Anything before we go to rants and raves?
Probably not.
Okay, all right. Who wants to go first?
I haven't got
I don't really have anything tonight.
So I actually don't, but I think I'll rave a little about the monthly budget monitoring. And we talked about that a few minutes ago. I think that piece of better communication and collaboration between departments is that next step for us. And I think we've done, FinCom does a great job. We do a good job having Liz on board, and how she's been integrated is great. And I think that takes us the next step of that communication, so we're all on the same page and sort of cross-fertilizing ideas. So that's a rave for that.
Yeah, I agree. It's a long time coming, and thank you for implementing it and working to make it happen. Yeah, it's just nice for people to understand, what happens when you spend your money and,
Right.
being more mindful of decisions and maybe putting things off that, when you understand the big picture. Yeah, terrific.
Okay.
All right, so nothing left tonight, so I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Good night.
No.